We can praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Get John chapter 5 and verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you. If you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? The 15th chapter of Proverbs and the 15th verse. 15th chapter of Proverbs and the 15th verse. Proverbs 15 and 15 says, all the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of a merry heart have a continual feast. Now, with that being said, we talked about last evening about new wine. Who can recall what it is? Shalom, Brother Sharon. What y'all can what do y'all take from that? Recall from that, I should say, about new wine. Of course, there's two words for new wine. But what did you take from the new wine? Yeah, remember what did he say in Revelation 21? I'll make all things new. So when we read in Joel chapter 3 how the mountains were dropped down with new wine, he's making all things new. Now, why is he making all things new in that regard? I mentioned it I think I mentioned it last night, but we'll read it right now. Isaiah 51. I was going to say, because Peter say the same thing, but I guess I'll just read both of them for the sake of example. I mean, to a certain extent, but the main part is that there'll be no more death, no more pain, no more sorrow, and a new heaven and a new earth. You know what I'm saying? Since I said that part, I have to read those two since we already in the back of Isaiah with it. Isaiah 51 and 3. Isaiah 51 and 3. After that, you can get Isaiah 65 and 17, and then we'll be right there by Isaiah 66, so you don't have to go that far. But Isaiah 51 and 3, Yahuwah shall comfort Zion. He will comfort her waste places. He will make her wilderness like Eden, her desert like the garden of Yahuwah. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving in the voice of melody. So that's what you look at with a celebration, but more so not a celebration per se, but samach or rejoicing. Why are you rejoicing? Because again, it said, what did it say? That those of a merry heart have a continual feast. And we'll deal with that in a moment. It says, hearken unto me, O my people, give ear unto me, O my nation, for a Torah shall proceed from me. I will make my judgment to rest for a light of the people. My righteousness is near. My salvation is gone forth. My arm shall judge the people. The eyes shall wait upon me, and on my arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look up to the earth and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment. And they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me, you that know, people in whose heart is my Torah. Fear you not the reproach of men, neither be you afraid of their revilings. Notice that what he said, who he told to listen to him, but those who know righteousness. Now, who are those who know righteousness? He said the people whose heart is his law. Shalom, brother Jay. Shalom. So who are those who know righteousness? What is this righteousness that they know? We just talked about this last night. You know what I'm saying? No, not just the righteousness of faith. What did we read last night in 1 John chapter 3 and verse 1 with the children? He said, they know him, they know us not, because they know him not. Same thing that Yahushua said in the 17th chapter of John. God's Father, they have not known you, or the world has not known you. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's the purpose of preaching the gospel, because you're learning of Yahuwah. That's why he said, how can you call on him whom you have not heard? How can you believe on somebody who you know nothing about? You know what I'm saying? And this goes back to a point that we dealt with many months ago. You can't wait. Now, Yahuwah will reveal himself to you, but he's not going to come show you who he has chosen you for a specific task. You're going to have to seek after him if you want to know who he is. You know what I'm saying? He's not coming to you and saying, hey, this is me, this is me, this is me. The onus is on you. Because how many times does the book say seek Yahuwah? Too many times. You know what I'm saying? Because he takes your diligence and your labor in seeking after him and how serious you are about attaining his salvation. That's why he say those that you had no righteousness, whose law is in my heart. How else would his law get in your heart? You would have to believe. Well, why would you have to believe? Because you sought after it. What did Yahushua say in the 11th chapter of Luke? Seeking your what? People ain't found it because you ain't looking for it. He said, asking your what? You'll receive. People ain't getting none because they ain't asking for it. Or like the Apostle James said, you asking, but you asking amiss because you asking to consume it on your desires. So he ain't gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you ain't gonna be a faithful steward. You're gonna take it, you're gonna consume it upon your desires, and all you're gonna do is muddy it up and destroy it. So why would he give you that? Remember the statement that Yahushua said? He said, and I'm trying to make sure I'm in the right place. I think it was in Luke chapter 11, if I'm not mistaken. He said, why? He said, if you ain't been faithful with another man's riches, who gonna commit to your trust the true riches? So if you ain't been faithful with nothing in your life, why would Yahuwah give you something from heaven? You know what I'm saying? Why would he do that? Because when we look at money, that's another man's riches. And he said, give unto Caesar's what is Caesar. If you ain't even responsible and faithful with that, why would Yahuwah give you the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that comes from heaven? If you're gonna spend it up on, if you're spending your natural substance on riotous living, why would he give you substance from heaven for you to do the same thing with? He ain't gonna do that. See, men operate like that because see, that's what the problem is. You think the more you get of something, the more responsible you'll be with it. But if you're not responsible with what you already have, more is going to do nothing but make the situation work. You know what I'm saying? Because you still have the same mindset. It's not more substance, it's your mindset. You know what I'm saying? This is why he said, what did he say when Adam ate from the tree of life, ate from the law? What did he say we had to do? What he had to do with it? What did he say he had to do with it? But why did he say he had to do that? So there ain't nowhere in the world. I can't let you live forever with that mindset. Because you ain't gonna do nothing but destroy it. See, that's why I was telling the white dude talking about they trying to figure out ways to live forever. You who ain't gonna let them live forever. But they don't believe in you, so it don't matter. At least to us. And they mind, they think that you want to live forever. Because dude asked him, he say, so what about dictators living forever? Like this is the stupidity of the stuff that they be doing. Could you imagine if Saddam Hussein could live forever? Or Benito Mussolini could live forever? Or Genghis Khan could live forever? You know what I'm saying? Do you understand how evil some of them people were? Are y'all familiar with some of these people? Are y'all familiar with Joseph Stalin and the things that this man did? Somebody like that. Shoot, screw it. What it was. Imagine David Rockefeller living forever. Shoot, screw it. Imagine George Bush living forever. Don't you know there had to be a rejoicing somewhere in heaven the day that no good bastard died? Yeah, he tried. Well, I mean, he tried. I mean, he had heart surgeries because he needed them. Well, I mean, he ain't. I mean, shoot, so he got the bread. You got the bread. You can get a lot more medical procedures done than the average person. He got the bread. But they say, but you supposed to remember what Yahuwah said. He said, even though Napoleon, oh yeah, definitely. Napoleon definitely wicked. But what did Yahuwah say through the mouth of Solomon? He said, though the days of the wicked be prolonged, it shall not be well with them. So let them stay as long as they need. Ain't gonna end well for them. Isaiah 65 and 17. This stuff we done read already, but it's pertinent to what we do. For behold, I create a new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. We already discussed this. Remember, right? I just read this the other day. Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. He said, if you become a new creature in the Mashal, what happens after? That's the writing of Paul. He said, when you become a new creature, what happens? This is in 2 Corinthians chapter 5. All things are passed away. You know what I'm saying? See, you know you ain't become a new creature if old things ain't passed away, because they wouldn't even come into remembrance. Why? Because what does the text say? He said, the people who Torah is in my heart. If his word is in your heart, the way you lived before will not even come into remembrance, because you no longer have that mind. You understand? He said, he that is flesh, that which is spirit. If you still thinking the way you thought when you was a sinner, you ain't been born again. Just cap. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, the reason why I mentioned this, because he said the former would not come into mind nor be remembered. Who knows what the text say about the Ark of the Covenant? Does anybody know what the text said about the Ark of the Covenant specifically? We talked about it many moons ago. But I'm trying to see who remembers what the text say about the Ark of the Covenant through the mouth of the prophet Jeremiah. I just said that part so you don't think about the law. Y'all don't recall what it say? It's okay. You recall it right now. Jeremiah chapter 3, by verse 16. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 16. I'll make it verse 14. Matter of fact, I didn't make it 12. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 12. Go and proclaim these words towards the north and say, return, you backsliding Yasharal, saith Yahuwah. I will not cause my anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith Yahuwah. I will not keep my anger forever. Only acknowledge your iniquity, that you have transgressed against Yahuwah your Elohim, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree. You have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahuwah. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahuwah, for I am married unto you. I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. I will give you pastors according to my heart, and shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it shall come to pass when you be multiplied in the land in those days, saith Yahuwah, they shall no more say the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah. Neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they visit it, neither shall that be done anymore. At that time they shall call Jerusalem the throne of Yahuwah. All the nations shall be gathered unto it to the name of Yahuwah, to Jerusalem, neither shall they walk anymore after the imagination of their evil heart. In those days the house of Yehudah shall walk with the house of Yasharal, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers. Notice, he said that the Ark of the Covenant won't even be remembered. And y'all know they make movies about this type of stuff, going to look for it. You know what I'm saying? You got people in the earth claiming, oh, the Ethiopians got it. They lying. Look what he just say gonna happen to it. You won't even remember it. I made all things new. Now, we discussed this before. So he just told you in verse 18, but verse 17, why is that the case? Because Yahuwah will be there sitting on the throne. So what need is for the Ark of the Covenant for? There's no need for it. Serves no purpose. Y'all should remember that, because what's on the top of the Ark of the Covenant? The mercy seat. And the mercy seat is symbolic of what? The throne. And what did the writer of the Epistle of Hebrews tell you? To come to the throne of grace for mercy in a time of need. You don't need to do that if he's sitting there. If you were sitting on the throne, what purpose is there for Ark of the Covenant? There is no purpose. Matter of fact, let's just read that in Revelation chapter 5. Actually, chapter 6. That's my bad. Revelation chapter 6. 6 and 16. Well, make it 6 and 14. Or 6 and 13. Matter of fact, 6 and 12. It's 6 and 12. I got something else in my head too. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 12. And then we'll go back to Isaiah 65. I beheld when he opened the sixth seal, there was a great earthquake. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Now, Paul, naturally, he's telling you that the stars are falling from heaven, right? But spiritually, what does that signify? The stars are falling from heaven. I thought that was Jesus coming on earth. It said stars. That's plural. Who are the stars? So what is those stars falling from heaven? What is that telling you? No. Y'all to a certain extent, y'all on the right track. Who did Yahushua say he was coming with? So that's why they falling, because it's time to start busting some heads. It's time to start busting some heads. Because if the stars are established where? Naturally, according to the law. Where are the stars established at? In the firmament. So they coming off their base. If they coming off their base, that means they coming to do something. So that's why you see that imagery and that fashion. Yes, literal stars will be falling, but then literal stars will be falling. Because he told you in the thousands of the saints. So he can lay back retribution to all ungodly sinners for all their ungodly deeds and all the ungodly words that they spoken and all the ungodly hard speeches that they spoken against him. The man coming with more angels than you could ever imagine. That's why these people always talking about aliens. I listened to her talking about, you don't believe aliens done came through here? Why would any aliens want to start like? Y'all are so proud and arrogant of yourself that you wonder why, if there were aliens, why they don't come talk to you. Do you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody out there, man. And like we went over when we were dealing with idols. We're supposed to know this. We're supposed to know this because all the planets are named after idol gods except for one. The one that Yahuwah created. All the rest of them are named after pagan deities. Every single solitary one of them. That's a strong sign that they made planets. Mercury. And that's going to take you back to Egypt. Venus. That ain't nothing but that stinking hoe Aphrodite. We done already talked about that before. The reason why people get down on one knee and propose. You know what I'm saying? Mars, which is basically Mercury. Mars and Mercury is the same person. When you notice, you sit back and look at somebody like Mars and Mercury are the same person. Neptune, that's Poseidon. You know what I'm saying? Pluto, Saturn, which is why you always see celebrities in all black because they worship Saturn. And truth be told, Saturn, Mars, and Mercury are the same person. Huh? These are the same people. The same deity with a different name. Then they had the nerve to create a deity and name him Uranus. So then they tell you what type of time they are. Straight up. Because they pansexual. This is why we took the time to look at all them idols and these stories so you can see how these people insult you. So that they insult you. They did it with their days of the week. They did it with their months. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about this society. Because if you go look at Japanese culture and Chinese New Year and all that stuff, then you see they did. But anytime you see Yahuwah, ain't nobody else mentioned other than Yahuwah. So you have to pay attention to that. You have to ask yourself a question. Why would they name all the planets after other gods? Why would they do that? Why does the word planet in the text translate to constellations or stars? Why does it translate to that? They don't want you to have that conversation. That's what some dudes' argument is for why the earth flat. I don't strictly care to have that conversation, but I understand their main point. If they tell you the earth round, it's to cause you to doubt the word of Yahuwah. But truth be told, knowing if you believe the earth flat around, they ain't got no bearing if you believe Yahuwah or not. You ain't believe me either way. It's niggas who say the earth flat don't believe Yahuwah. Indeed. This nigga Kyrie Irving got a whole nigga booty hole on his shoe. He got the eye on his shoe. You see the eye of Horus, you dealing with a booty hole. If you know Horus' story, that's why I say that. If you know Horus' story, then you're dealing with a booty hole. He told you he a hermeticist. See, if you I read Traeger's Hermes up the road. That nigga's a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie Irving is a professed learner of hermeticism. And that nigga said he did that with the color of one of the shoes. I shared that in there so y'all can listen to this nigga. This nigga telling you what he own. This nigga worship Pan. That's why that nigga shoulder always hurt. He's always hurt. Doing stuff he ain't got no business. Always got a growing issue. You wonder why. You looking at the Wayne talking about, oh, John ain't with that with his kids going over to the Wayne house. He probably the one touched the little boy, allegedly. I don't need nobody suing me. You know what I'm saying? I'm being sound funny, but I'm also being dead serious. At the end of the day, I'll tell you right, you can look this stuff up for yourself. You can look up the NFL, you can look up the NBA, you can look up boxing. All of them are listed under entertainment. The minute you see that this is listed under entertainment, the facts that these are actual real sporting events should dissipate away out of your brain. It is for entertainment and entertainment only. That's all it's there for. It's not real. Is there real competition? Yes. Is it real competition like we have in our mind, like when you go play a pickup game? No. You know what I'm saying? Stuff is engineered for the purpose of ratings and money. That is the number one objective. Not who's the best basketball player, not because they tell you who the best basketball player is, and that's what people gonna believe. You know what I'm saying? Because if they tell you something enough, you will believe it. They told you repeatedly that 2 airplanes hit a building, and people believed it, irregardless of what their eyes saw. You know what I'm saying? If you tell somebody something enough, they will believe it. So you have to pay attention to that. That's why they be on the radio. That's why they on there with TV. That's why it's called programming. Because they don't want you to actually use your independent brain. They want you to go along. That's why I told you they like narratives. Football season ain't going on. These people been talking all off season about where Tom Brady gonna go. Ain't nobody just pulled this man to the side and sat him down with a camera in his face and say, "Nigga, where you going?" Same way Chris Broussard got caught telling all them bold-faced lies about why Kawhi Leonard was going, and his homeboy said, "So what's up with the sources?" Because it's just narrative. Keep you talking, keep you distracted. Because I want to tell you what I want to tell you. Then when we do something different, you be like, "Oh man, look at that!" And they just showing you, you know, you ain't Geppetto and you Pinocchio. They pulling your strings, and one day you're gonna say, "I'm a real boy." That's what they do. Whether I'm talking about, I don't care what it is. It don't got to be sports, whether it's the news, whether it's TV show. The worst part is they tell you reality show scripted, you can still believe it's real. They tell you it's scripted. And you're like, well, that's some real stuff they went through. That means, you know what that really means, all jokes aside? That's how much lack of respect they have for your intelligence. That they know that we can get in front of you and tell you whatever we want to tell you, and you're going to believe it. Definitely, the world is a stage. Oh, you say, yeah, you say Wilder with Fury. Say, you know, Wilder was Fury saying Wilder was mocking God. They didn't believe the same. And then he whooped dude and told him because of that, Christ is the only way. But screw all that. That was who he talking about. This man licked another man's blood in public, a nigga who tell you he a gypsy king. And if you know what a gypsy is, and if you know about a little bit about Islam, because see, gypsies deal with jinn. Jinn is the Arabic word for demon. And he around here licking blood because these people actually sacrifice human beings and then drink their blood. And then guess what black people doing? You represent for black history. You put on the black. Idiotic nigga. So all they had to do was flash you pictures of Rosa Parks and you feeling like black pride because you know what all that did? Continue to have you with the black-white dynamic because you got to have that opposition of that white man. That's why I got to be proud to be black instead of just being proud to be who you are and not contrast yourself against another group of people. No, the white dude licked the man's blood off his neck because he's a gypsy. Which means that really a gypsy, for all intents and purposes, is what's in Deuteronomy 18 and 10. He practices divination and necromancy and things of that nature. And he telling you he the gypsy king. And nigga like this here. Now niggas posting videos, see they cheated the man. They cheated the man. That's what's wrong with y'all. Because see, when you always worry about being pro-black, then you will never be for what's right. So you'll justify somebody when they black, when they wrong, when they lose. It don't make no difference. Because you don't want to accept the fact, hey, Cuz lost. The king win them all. It is what it is. Pro-black people be like, he pulled a pistol on the police. They didn't have to shoot it. Well, what you thought was going to happen? You know what I'm saying? What you thought was going to happen? You can't be that way. You have to be for what's right. Now, he right, though, because they say Wilder was mocking God. Maybe they be like, God humbled him. Why does Yahuwah care about 2 sinners and a boxing ring? This is how retarded we is that we think Yahuwah cares about stuff like this. Why does Yahuwah care about Deontay Wilder winning a fight? Why does he care? He doesn't look at Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury any different. You know what he see? Sinner. That's what he see. You a sinner, he a sinner. Matter of fact, 99.9% of these people sitting in this room are sinner, and some of y'all worship man who in here. But that's another conversation for another day. Oh, well, Yahuwah hold the little confused Zion accountable? Shoot, the minute he take a penis in his butt, he accountable. Well, shoot, the minute he put a dress on, he accountable. That's just an ugly affair. That's what happened when your parents sin us. You know what I'm saying? Parents sin us, and they got you into sin. That sin following you too. Yeah, don't believe that stuff about there's an age of accountability, because there ain't nowhere in the book. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. If you wicked, then shoot, your children could likelihood catch the penalties of the wicked. Anyone would tell me if somebody whose children caught the penalties of the wicked, then we got to move on. Eli's one, but they were grown.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, little children. Yeah, Eli says they were grown. David is an example, but she was still in utero. Give me somebody who was alive. They did. Indeed. I wouldn't think about them. I got two right off the top. I'm trying to see who remembers. Because their parents were sour, tossed them. You got Achan, because Achan touched the unclean thing. Not only did it kill his wife, killed his children too. You got Korah and everybody with him. Not only did it kill his wife, killed their children too. You know what I'm saying? The children ain't had nothing to do with what Korah had going on. The children ain't had nothing to do with what Achan had going on. Since the daddy was wicked, it's all on the whole house. That's how you operate. See, some people don't like that. What about the kid? What about it? Ain't that's the line they say out of here? F them kids. That's how he feels. You wicked, screw them kids. But what did he say? He said the children of the wicked made for the sword. Yeah, I just mentioned it. Good deal. Yeah, Achan. That's a good deal to run with that. But you have to look at that. Again, that's when you know him. That's why so many people be offended by him. Because the way that he operates, they don't agree with. When you look at it with a righteous and sober mind, I don't see no problem with it. Because if you righteous, then your children get the benefit of your righteousness, do they not? So why would, if you wicked, your children get the penalty for your wickedness? That's the even swap, no swindle. That's the even swap, no swindle. He ain't tilted one way stronger than the other. He's not doing that. You wicked, your children get that then. Because what did he say in the law? What did he say he do? He cursed from what? The third and fourth generation. We had nothing to do with what our forefathers did. We paying the penalty for it though. Because you know why? Because your parents knew. They knew. They made a decision to make your life hard. So if you're going to be upset with anybody, be upset with them. You know what I'm saying? But what do? We want to be upset with the white man. White man ain't make no covenant with you. Who it did? So be mad with the people. When they was out there in the wilderness playing with that golden calf, when they was around here worshiping Baal and Ashtaroth and going to Sukkot, drinking in the whole house, worshiping idols, be mad with them. See, that's accountability, and that's something that black people don't like. See, you can't serve Yahuwah and not be accountable. You know why you can't do that? Because you're going to stand before that throne and give account whether you want to or not. You ain't got no choice in that. Ain't that right, Eugene? I know it. Come on, Revelation chapter 6, verse 13. Ain't that right, Eugene? You, Eugene? You, Eugene. You, Eugene. That's your name. No, Eugene is not my name, sir. My name is not Eugene. Oh, you're two. You are Baba. Huh? You are Baba. Oh, thank you, sir. But that's not my name. That's a title. And the stars of heaven, this is Revelation 6 and 13. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree cast her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. You see how they say shaken of a mighty wind? Why is shaken of a mighty wind important in regards to the stars falling? Because he said he would come with what? The clouds. And if it's coming with wind, what would that Hebrew word translate to? Ruach, or breath. So it's the Ruach of Yahuwah that's causing these stars to fall or to come upon the earth to execute his business. Well, hello, sir. You seem to escape from your parents. And he's saying the heavens departed as a scroll. And when it is rolled together, every mountain and every island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. And said to the mountains, fall on us, and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and the wrath of the Lamb. Take a look at Revelation 21 while we at it. Hey, buddy. You wanted to be free? You wanted to be free? They had you in bondage? They had you in bondage, man. Revelation 21 and 22. (21 and 22). God. And I saw no temple therein, for Yahuwah Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. Let me ask you this question. This is Revelation 21 and 22. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the steam of Elohim did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Now, simple question. What's inside the temple? Ark of the Covenant, of the mercy seat. So if Yahuwah and the Lamb are the temple of it, then Yahuwah's throne is present. Wherever Yahuwah is, the throne is present. See, come over here to Psalms 101, I believe. Then we come back to Isaiah 65. Might be 110. It is 110. Psalms 110. Sir, are you trying to tear apart my pages? Because you're trying to tear the book up. Or are you going to sit here at my feet? I don't have any fiddles, though. You got fiddles? Very well, sir. Psalms 110 and 1. Says, Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Yahuwah shall send a rod of strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. Listen what he says, your people shall be willing in the day of your power. In the beauties of Kadash from the womb to the morning, you have the dew of your youth. Now, verse 3 is what I want you to look at. And I'm going to get you the word for willing here. I got to move a little swift because we got a lot to unpack. The word willing here is nebdah. It's the word for voluntariness or free will offering. So the characters are Nun, they are Bat, they are Dalet, and they are Hey. So if it says in this day that you would be a free will offering, how is one a free will offering? Let's really go to what we were discussing on Wednesday. Because he said you'll be willing or you'll voluntarily offer yourself. How does one make themselves a free will offering? Because what is a free will offering according? What is free will offering? That's something that that you're not compelled to do. You have free will offerings in the law. You know, I think in the church house they call it love offerings and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And truth be told, to lose that terminology would be correct because it would be a love offering. The free will offering that you receive is Yahushua. We kind of talked about it last night when he said, who knows if he'll leave a meat offering and a drink offering behind, because that's a love offering. Yahuwah loved you enough to leave an offering. Because Isaiah chapter 6 is referring to Yahushua, but it was speaking to Isaiah. And what did Isaiah say when they asked who will go for us? Send me, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at what it is to be a free will offering, what does it say in Romans 12 in about verse 1 or 2? That you make your life a what? A living sacrifice. What did Yahushua instruct you to do? To take up your stake and follow him. He's not forcing or compelling anyone to sacrifice themselves. You have to be willing to do that on your own. That's why he say when you go through the press, then you'll burst out with new wine, because the press, according to the characters, is telling you the last work of Yahushua. What was his last word? He gave up the breath. When he gave up the breath, what did he say? Abba, in your hands I commend my spirit. or I entrust my life to you. See, you're not going to be willing to make a free will offering unless you can trust this man with your life. See, the reason why people don't trust the man with their life, because in reality, you don't respect him. You don't respect him. So you have to understand something, especially with men. Love to a man is equated with respect. When there's no respect, you don't love the man. That's spiritually or naturally. Ain't no way around that. Ain't no way around that. Ain't no way around that. All that stuff, that emotional, romantic stuff, man, flush that stuff down the toilet. That's why people relationships support. Because you looking at thinking you don't love somebody just because you cook for them. Because you should do that anyway, because that's who you are. You don't love somebody because you clean the house. You should do that anyway, because that's who you are. You love the man by offering. That's why I've always told you, once a woman lose respect for a man, that's pretty much over with. You're not bouncing back from that as a man. You're not reclaiming that. I've been told you that. That's my personal opinion. I don't know. I have never seen in my 39 years under the sun anybody re-respecting someone they lost respect for. I've never seen it. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether y'all seen it or not, I don't know. I've never seen it. Ain't no nigga I ever lost respect for got that respect back. I don't care what. They can transform their whole essence, but I'm going to still see that buster nigga I seen at that particular point in time. That's what I'm going to see. That nigga that'll suck good, he improved himself, but that nigga always going to be a hole in my book. You know what I'm saying? You do some sucker stuff, man. Hey, man, that's the only way I'm going to see it. I ain't going to try to influence other people with it. You know, your dealings with that person is your dealings with that person. But if you ask me now, I don't fool with that nigga, I think I'm busted. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Any of y'all women ever lost respect for a dude and you got it and he got it back? Y'all know full well what happens when a woman loses respect for a man. She starts treating him any kind of way, talking to him any kind of way, doing him any kind. See, my big homies told me as a kid, well, don't you do that. You gotta get your respect off the top. If she ain't willing to respect you, leave her alone. Leave her alone. You know what I'm saying? You know what the world tell you, nigga be listening to? Well, you know, you got to work with her and all. Oh, no. I ain't got my respect. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not disrespecting you, there's no reason for you to be disrespecting me. So you're only disrespecting me for one or two reasons. You don't know what respect is, or you feel like I'm a boss. And either way it goes, I'm a slide. You know what I'm saying? Chick I met when I first came home out of the county, like an old folk. This here, man, I told you about that. She was cussing her dude out. I'm like, bro, you gonna let her talk to you like that? And that whole crazy. I'm like, nah, you crazy for letting her talk to you like that. You know what I'm saying? She came to talking to me like that, straight that off the top. And you know, and I some people call it petty, but I was doing it to prove a point. I called her female dog 15 times consecutive after she called me out my name. And then when I finished doing that, I said, did you like that when I said that to you? No, don't talk to me like that. And she never did it again. Because it wasn't the point of, I'm just going to call her this name. That was for effect. And I was 24 years old at the time. But that's for effect. Don't disrespect me like that. I've never called you out your name. Don't call me out my name. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not cool with that. You're not talking to me like that. Because the minute I allow you to talk to me like that, your respect level for me will erode. Because you know you ain't supposed to be talking to no man like that. Deep down in your soul, you know you ain't supposed to be talking to no man like that. Calling them all types of names and whole niggas and all that ain't supposed to happen. And you know it ain't. And you looking at him like, why you let me do it? This nigga's a bust. I'm finna run all over. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's how that works. And every woman in here know it. Every woman in here know they done size any dude they ever talked to see if he was a man or not. Let me try this nigga, see what he do. And that's gonna dictate how you gonna treat it. Or if you're gonna fool with it. See, dudes be walking around, they don't know that because don't nobody tell them that. I observed that. My big homie told me that. Let me go try you, boy. You better assert yourself. And he wasn't talking about no disrespectful stuff, calling them out their name, yelling, putting your hands on them. He just like I said, just let them know you a man, you ain't with it. And if she don't want to be on that type of time, value yourself enough and walk away. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no woman worth keeping who gonna continually disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? They ain't worth keeping because she don't fool with you like that. You know what I'm talking about? Don't do your time like that, because why? How do we know that? But we kept disrespecting Yahuwah, and what did he do? So I'm gonna holler at you. And then he took it a step further. He said, plead with me face to face and tell me what I did you wrong. You know what he said? Tell me what I did to you. Don't give me your imagined stuff. Don't give me your emotional stuff. Tell me what I did to you. You ain't had nothing to say. You know what he said? Babylon, come get him. Assyria, come get him. Come get this nigga right now. You think I do? Because for him, love is respect. And that respect comes from your fear or your reverence or honor for his authority. You know what I'm saying? And that reverence and honor leads to your obedience to his authority. And because you don't really see a black man as somebody worth reverencing and honoring, and you feel like, I don't really got to listen to him. I don't really respect his authority. I don't really respect his leadership, because that's how you feel about Yahuwah. Because what did Paul write in Ephesians 5? He said, let all women do what? Reverence her husband. You know what I'm saying? Respect him. Because that's how you're supposed to feel about Yahuwah. Respect him. If that man is godly, what is there not to respect? Now, if he ungodly, I can see why you wouldn't respect that. If that's what he's professing to be, I can see why you wouldn't respect it. But if he's godly and you don't respect that, that say more about you than it do about him. That's why Yahuwah said, let me plead with him face to face. Let me see what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't had nothing to say. And where we at right now? Scattered in the four corners of the earth, looking like a fool. But let's continue. What y'all got for me on them characters? I lost them. I'll repeat them for you. You got Noon, Bot, Dalit, and Hay. Bro, don't you tear that book up. Little girl. Little girl. Don't you tear the pages. You hear me talking to you, you better check your face. Because I ain't scared of you. Trying to shoot a unit like somebody's scared of you. You ain't no gangster. But Noon, Bot, Dalit, and Hay. What y'all come up for that? It is the Nataba. It is the word for your people will be willing in the day of your power. Got a little something different. But I want to see what anybody else has. Big guy, big guy, big guy. It's okay. It's okay. You ain't got to do all that. Be calm. All right, my man. I'll only work for a little while. You good? Anybody else got something they want to offer with that? What's that? I don't know what's that. Huh? I got hair on me?
I said the sun will reveal the door of life.
It's cereal, baby. Now I'll sit back and look at it that Yahushua is the door of life. Or Yahushua's life gives you a door to his household. Open door to the house or open door to the family. He said you'll be willing in the day of his power. So when is the day of his power? Well, we talked about that on Wednesday. The day of his power is the day that centurion looked at him and said, truly, this man is the son of Elohim. That was the day of his power. The day of his power is not, and because it just said to people, you're not willing or offering yourself on the day of Yahuwah, because that's a dark and gloomy day. You'll be willing to offer yourself in the day that he died, because that was the day of his power. Because what does the book tell you? That he was crucified in weakness, but raised in strength. Or what you perceive to be weak was really the power of Elohim. Because we don't look at it that way. If he was to be crucified right now, we'll look at him like, and he didn't fight back. What was his statement to Pilate? He said, if my kingdom was of this world, my servants would fight. That's what his statement was. So he said, you have no power at all against me except if it was given from heaven. So he already knew that this wasn't a day of weakness per se. It's going to be the day of weakness with those with carnal eyes when they watch a man be humiliated. But it was really the power of Elohim under salvation by remitting sins and giving access to the gift of everlasting life, because you could only get entrance into the house through the seed which is the word, which is the ruach. So you would have to be willing to offer yourself. Where do you ever read anywhere where Yahuwah compelled anyone to offer themselves to serve him? He never compelled anyone. You could do what you want to do. You either gonna serve me or you not. You know what I'm saying? That's how he see it. You either gonna do it or you not. See, we live in a society, you want to beg people to love you. Who ain't begging nobody? You know what I'm saying? Because you're supposed to look at him and say what's not to love. You know what I'm saying? What we do is, that's different when you're dealing with natural level. You have to sit back and look at it. When you're young, you can't expect a man to have a full, mature mind and you know he's young. That's just selfish on your part. You know what I'm saying? That's just selfish on your part. If you want the man to be complete, then hey, then leave that man alone and let him complete himself. But if you know that he's young, then you ought to have that expectation. Because contrary to popular belief, women do not mature faster than men, and everybody in here knows. Everybody in here knows. You know, that's a lie, that's propaganda. Because as we discussed before, but I use it, if women mature faster than men, you wouldn't be seeking for a man to lead you and complain about how men don't lead, because you'll be able to lead yourself. But you know you can't lead yourself because deep down we've already had this. You don't want to. So you immature in the fact that you're backwards, that you want something that you know you don't want, but you tell people you want it, so you know you don't want it. All right. That's immaturity in and of itself. And proof positive. Because you can't demand for a man to be a man and then say you mature faster than him. Which we already know the text say the man's supposed to help the wife do what? To mature. So how are you more mature than him? How is the body more mature than the head? That don't make common sense. That ain't nothing but feminist propaganda. And all that is to make you be out of order, to make you disrespect the man, so that by proxy you disrespect you. See now, Satan is. Remember what did he say? Satan is. He's a sly bastard, man. That's cunning. See, that's what skill is. See, the skill I have you look like what the dude say, misdirection, Stanley. He got you looking left when you should have been looking right. You was looking for the body blow. He hit you with the hook. You know what I'm saying? That's how Satan deceives. I want you looking this way, but I'm coming that way. So you don't see it coming. But when it do come, you think you came up with this on your own. And the reason why you enjoy it, because it seems to be beneficial to you, even though it's destroying you in the midst of what you feel like is gratifying you. Then when the destruction is complete and you look back at it and you be like, dang, that really didn't work out well for me. Now, what is the due of your youth? And that's Psalms 110. You can go back to Isaiah 65, but I just want y'all to think about that. What that is, Ish, you asked me out, will be upon his resurrection. I ain't catch it when you put it up there to know exactly what you were referring to. Unless you're referring to the due of his youth. Give me a thumbs up if it's for the due of your youth. For the due of his youth, that it will be as in the due of your youth. What is that referring to? This power aspect. Right. I feel. Yeah, if it's talking about the due of your youth, it's talking about the spirit that he put on Adam, because that's your youth, that's your Genesis, that's your beginning. Now, when we look at as the ruach that made Adam be alive, that takes us back to what we read in Isaiah 51 about Jerusalem being like the Garden of Eden. Or what he said in Revelation chapter 2, that if you overcome, then you'll have a right to the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. See, everything in the text interconnects to get you to, because what are some of the benefits that Adam had? He had dominion over the whole earth. You know what I'm saying? We know that Adam was as Yasharal, meaning the name Yasharal, that he had power to rule as Elohim. So he's going to make it, referring to Yahusha, let it make it back like it was in the beginning. You have dominion from over the earth. You call all creatures by name. You know what I'm saying? Male and female created he them. So your wife come out of you like his wife came through the whole thing. Because you know what was supposed to be going on in Genesis? A continual feast. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But that's what was supposed to be going on. A continual feast. That's why he said he of a merry heart. And that's going to take us back to what we were discussing with the wine and what we were talking about the wine to begin with. Because when you're reading the text, nobody just sip wine just to sip wine. It was always for something celebratory. It's either for a feast day, for a marriage. Ain't nobody just get up on no Thursday afternoon and say, pass me some wine. Remember, we were talking about that's why Peter looked at Buddy and said, hey, man, these ain't drunken words as you suppose. It ain't but the ninth hour of the day. Who get around? We ain't drunks. But again, we live in a society that does not promote that. They tell you get drunk. The book also tell you to drink wine for what other reason? For your infirmities. If you're sick. Not, oh, let's just sip some wine because I feel like sipping. You're a drunk. If you're not drinking, the dude told me that dudes have a real teacher. And I be telling him, man, bro, stop calling my phone talking to me about this. Somebody, you only supposed to have sex if you're trying to procreate. You ain't supposed to have it for pleasure. I said, where you read that at? Well, you read I said, but where you read that at? I say, clearly, if you have sex, there's going to be a chance for procreation, idiot. Ain't nobody looking at us and say, let's have sex today so we can have a child. You don't read that anywhere in the text. And he said, dudes really teach this here. I say, well, give me some verses to support it. He ain't got none. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got none. But the difference is, does the book tell you what? The book tell you not to be what? A drunk. Now this is where your insight or your understanding come in. You read the text and you look at what always occurs when wine is involved. You know what I'm saying? Versus what he say to be a drunkard. Because you can look at your wife and say, you know what? I sex every day. And that's just your personal prerogative. You know what I'm saying? But if somebody looking at, they want to drink wine every day, what you drinking for? My life hard. Well, you need to see the Lord. Say your life hard, so your answer is, let me get a bottle of wine. He definitely said it's better for you to marry than to burn with desire. You know what I'm saying? But some people, get your desire under control, because then you're going to get married, you're going to make it worse. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't prepared for that. Like we mentioned the other day, because in that same chapter, he said it's better for you to remain he said the unmarried man, the married man do good, but the unmarried man do better. You know what I'm saying? Why they say they do better? Because they focus is solely on Yahuwah and Yahuwah alone. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have that distraction so that you can come to full maturity and then you can deal with a woman. You know what I'm saying? Because if you ain't come to full maturity, oh yeah, that woman gonna drive you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because she's nothing but an overgrown child. You're going to have to help bring her to maturity. And if you ain't prepared for that task or even aware that that task has to be undertaken, then you're going to be overwhelmed and frustrated because you'll be like, what's wrong with this nigga? Why she do this and why she do that? But what does the book tell you how to deal with a woman? And it tells you what to look for. Like a father should. We already know. What the book told you to do? He said, my son. He said, a whore's a deep pitch. What did Solomon say he was doing? Look at what? The boys ain't got no understanding. Look at the bald-headed hoe out here in the corner. Somebody go to her house. You know what I'm saying? He tell you what to do. He tell you that, shoot, at the end of the day, man, he said a woman's more bitter than death. I mean, what more can you say after that? That's very harsh. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very harsh. Yes, too. That's because I talked to you about that. Because he said that's harsh. It's a hard thing. Ain't none of us in here died. But we know how bitter it is when somebody you love died. And this is what Solomon compared a woman to. That he found more bitter than death a woman. Look at his face. You better stop when you catch one. Back to Isaiah 65 to 17.
Be quiet.
Yeah, I'm laughing at you. 65 and 17. Behold, I create a new heaven and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. But be you glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing and a people of joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem and joy in my people. The voice of weeping shall no more be heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more against the infant of days, nor old man that have not filled his days. For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100-year-old shall be accursed. Telling you over here to Isaiah 66. Who even needs 66? He just said new heaven and new earth, and we're gonna remain, his seed gonna remain before him. Don't even need to read 2 Peter chapter 3, because he said that the heavens and earth are in store against judgment as they was during the time of the flood. He said, what manner of people that we ought to be found in all matter of Kadash conduct. knowing that the earth and everything in it is going to be burned up. Basically, what he's doing, starting all over again. But this time, ain't nothing but the righteous going to be there. That's it. Ain't no sinners coming to hang out. Period. That's why when people tell you, oh, you'll never stop sinning, tell them speak for yourself. Somebody tell you that you'll never stop sinning, that's somebody telling you that you can never have discipline and self-control to regulate your own conduct, thoughts, and behavior. And we know that's a lie from hell. At the end of the day, that's what he's telling you. So you mean to tell me you can't control yourself? Because there's nothing in this life that anyone can force you to do. What did the Apostle James say? That if any man do anything, he's drawn in the way and enticed of his own desire. So at the end of the day, you do what you do because that's what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to do it, then you do what we read last night, mortify your members. You take your stake up, you put that to death. If you don't put it to death, I said this many, many years ago, but it's the truth. You cannot kill what is already dead. You know what I'm saying? That's why Yahushua said after they kill the body, what more can they do? Well, if you're already dead to sin and dead to the world, then how can anyone kill you? You have to really look at it in that aspect. If you're already dead to sin and dead to the world, how can anyone kill you? You're already dead. You're dead to the world, alive to Elohim. So there's nothing that they can do. There's nothing that they can do. That's if you believe that Yahushua rose from the dead and that all that believe in him were raised along with him. See, if you don't believe that, then you have a problem. But if you believe that, as the scripture has said, then, hey, man, shoot me. Here, what you going to do? Let me take my rest. What can you do to me? You can't do nothing to me. Did you see Yahushua worrying about, they going to kill me? Say, man, chief priest going to kill me, and I'm going to raise the third day. It's a light matter. You know what I'm saying? He say, he will not suffer my compassion want to see. See, these are promises that he made. See, if you don't believe that, then you have patience. That's why everybody talk about fly high. Ain't nobody flying high when they die. That nigga at the morgue. That's where he at. How is he flying? What wings did he get? I hate when people say God gained them. The angels are with him. Ain't no angels on this earth in no fleshly form. Ain't no angel. The angels are with him. Because if you are an angel, that means you are a ministering spirit in a flaming fire. Sir, you have flesh and blood. Ma'am, you have flesh and blood. You ain't no angel. Watch over me. Ain't nobody watching over you. Who are watching over you? And the problem is you think he ain't looking. You know what I'm talking about? Because he said in the word, people say, Yahuwah forsaking the earth. Let us do evil. People problem is you think he ain't looking. So nigga right now beat this beat till my God ain't watching. He looking, look at this nasty nigga right here. Well, he ain't watching. Yahuwah ain't watching. The angels and they giving a report. Because Yahuwah ain't finna look at that. Look, his eyes too pure to behold evil. He finna watch that. They come back and tell him, yeah, we got some nasty niggas over there in Wisconsin. What they got going on, you it's bad. It's bad. But don't even tell him about San Francisco. Don't tell him about Atlanta. God only knows what they're doing in Dubai. Don't tell him about what they got going on. And I ain't talking about with the visitors either. I'm talking about the people who live there. Whole world in degradation. And he see all of it. What did he say about Sodom and Gomorrah? What made him send 2 witnesses down there? Why did he say he 2 witnesses down there? No, he says why he sent them to go look down there. He said their sins had reached up to heaven. He said, let me send somebody to see if that was going on. 1 2 minute reports. Somebody hit the line. Let them know what's going on. Let them know what's going on. Let them know what's going on. I keep telling y'all that. I've been telling you for years. Y'all know that every time you see that rainbow, that man hot. That junk ain't just because it rained and it's beautiful. You got to get that out your mind. Oh, look at the beautiful rainbow. That man is angry. Because when you see that rainbow, what did he say that was for? A covenant that it reminds you that I will not flood the earth again. Why did he flood the earth? Because they corrupted the way you were upon the earth. You see that rainbow, that man is hot. You know what I'm saying? This man's hot. Like, what y'all doing? You're lying, you're stealing, you're fornicating, you're committing adultery, you're sleeping, you're abusing yourselves with mankind, you're blaspheming, you're worshiping idols. Everything I said not to do, you doing. And you doing it in my name. And y'all like this here. Oh, God loves everybody. He cool. He ain't got no problem with it. That man like this here. Now, I'm not mentioning all that because the first part of that book say those who are afflicted. Go back to Jeremiah 15. Proverbs 15. Because I got to hit the verse again. Let's go on back over. It said all the days of the afflicted are evil. Now, what does this mean? Because this ain't talking about sinners. Because do sinners get afflicted? For the most part, they do not. Remember what he said? Because the work against an evil work is not, a sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. It is privily in the hearts of the sons of men to do evil. If he afflicted men quickly for their transgressions, men wouldn't transgress.
I just thought about the way the sin is hard.
The way the sin is hard, but but I think it defines the word hard. It defines different because the way of transgressors is hard, but it's not hard in the aspect of them being constantly afflicted. Because Ahab wasn't afflicted. You know what I'm saying? Who else sinned a lot? Yeah, it's to get you right. And Brother Saran said he's seeing a lot of rainbows lately. I bet he is. You see rainbows some days it don't even rain. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that's supposed to make you stand back and say, look, it ain't even rain. You seeing a rainbow. That man pissed off. You know what I'm saying? And sit back at it, right? Let's just be honest. Can you blame him? Can you blame him? Can you blame him? Can't even blame him. I'd be mad too. Because at the end of the day, he didn't create you to be doing all this stuff we be out here doing. He didn't create us for that. And it's beauty to serve you who. Now, like he just said, right? All the days of the afflicted are evil. What did Yahushua pray for his apostles? Let me show it to you. Jeremiah 17. John 17. I can't say, we would have to actually look at the person who chose that as their symbol and why they chose it. I've never took the time to look into why that person chose it because word. Yeah, the world is discussing, but we would have to look at who created that and why they chose that symbol. And that could be able to give us the insight on what they did. Because if I was to say anything, I'd be speculating. I never looked, I never thought about why they, because Jesse Jackson did the same thing with the Rainbow Coalition. He chose that as his symbol for his organization when he took over. Because they told him, when Martin Luther King died, allegedly, you can take his place. He didn't have the charisma, the je ne sais quoi, if you will, that Martin Luther King had. Things just didn't go his way. Hey, I mean, Jesse Jackson was a charlatan, but he seen that he could get some shine when he met up with with Martin Luther King, and he said, you know what? I want some of this. I want some of this too. It's John 16. Is it John 16? Pause. It's John 17, my fault. John 17 and 12. Matter of fact, make it 11. John 17 and 11. He's saying, now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to you, Kadash, Father. Keep to your own name those whom you have given me, that they may be one as we are. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in your name. Those that you gave me, I have kept. None of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now I come to you, and these things I speak in the world, that they may have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I've given them your word, and the world have hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I pray not that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Now he's asking them to keep them from the evil, but he said that all the days of the afflicted are evil. Because what ends up happening to those who are afflicted? I'll get you the word for afflicted. So words you should be familiar with it is an A. It's somebody who's been humbled, who's wretched, who's been afflicted, and it's Ayin, Nun, and Yah. So the first thing you look at is that they know the work of life. Now, did Yahushua get afflicted with evil, or was he kept from evil? We know that he was afflicted with it. That goes back to everybody who lives godly will be persecuted. Goes back to what we read last week, where Paul told you, be not ashamed of the sufferings of me, the Lord's prisoner, and be partaker of the sufferings of the gospel. Because the only way you're going to be saved, you're going to have to be afflicted. See, everybody tries to avoid that. You're going to take up a torture stake and not be afflicted and humble in the midst of picking it up. How are you going to be a free will offering, and your offering is your life, and then you're not going to be afflicted in the process? Peter wrote that you should suffer in the flesh the same way that Yahushua suffered in the flesh, because when he did that, he ceased from sin who does this. And they no longer live to the lust of the flesh, but to the will of Elohim. In order to sin, you have to be afflicted. And then those times are going to seem evil to you. Because what does it say in the Epistle of Hebrews? That no chastening seems joyous at the time of the chastening. It is done so that those who are exercised thereby may participate in the peaceable fruits of righteousness. See, that's what you're missing. That's what we miss. You know what I'm saying? That's what we miss. You ain't getting that. Because while we live in a society, if you get put to shame, you taught to avoid that. When Yahushua was put to an open shame, did he avoid it? No, what did he do? He said, it's those who betray the Son of Man in our hand, let's roll. It's got to happen. If he don't get put to this, if he's not humiliated, then guess what doesn't happen? You still got your sins. You still got your sins. That's what happens. I think we discussed that a little bit in the baptism last week. You still got it. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, at the end of the day, when you look at it, and there's no way around it. You broke the covenant and you sinned. He did not. So that means he did not, as we discussed a few weeks back in 2 Samuel 14, he did not have to seek a way to bring his banished back to him. He didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the church system, and when I say church system, I'm talking about just the religious system in the Western Hemisphere. They craft in our minds that Yahuwah owes us. You know what I'm saying? That salvation is owed to you. That forgiveness and mercy is owed to you. You're entitled to it, and you're not. You're not entitled to that. You're not entitled to anything because at the end of the day, it's his flesh you got, it's his breath you got, it's his blood you got. You eat his crops and his animals. You live under his sun and drink his water that he created. You owe him, he don't owe you. You know what I'm saying? See, when you understand that, then you begin to have more respect for the level of love and provision that he provides. Because you need him, he don't need you. We didn't already had this conversation. He don't need you. That's why I tell any man in life, well, you don't never look a woman in the face and tell her you need her. You're a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no woman on this earth you ought to need. It should be a woman you want to. But need, and every one of these women to tell you, you look in the face and tell her, baby, I need you. Your respect is out the door. You know what I'm talking about? Because she's going to look at you and say he weak. Because she should know a man shouldn't need no woman. You want a woman. You need no woman. A woman needs a man for obvious reasons. But a man doesn't need a woman. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need one. Because that's weakness. That's why I told you before, don't you never open your mouth and say your woman is a rock. Yahuwah is your rock. You can't lean on her for stability. She's looking on you to lean on Yahuwah for stability so she can lean on you. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't supposed to be leaning on her. She ain't built for that. Look at her shoulders. I mean, it's like, look at their shoulders. You think that's built to maintain and prop something up? Absolutely not. Look at their body frame. Look at their bone structure. It's not meant for that. You lean on her, she falling over. You wonder why you got more muscle mass and she don't. But she's supposed to lean on you. And that's the natural order. Then they say the head of the woman, the man. The head of the man is Mashiach. The head of Mashiach is Elohim. Yahushua didn't lean on you. When he was getting afflicted, who did he lean on? Did he lean on his apostles? He leaned on his Elohim. That's common sense. How am I lean on man for? What man gonna do? The thoughts of man are vanity. Yahuwah is a rock. Let me lean on him. It's a refuge in him. I'm going to lean on Yahuwah. Guess what that ends up making the apostles and everybody else who followed him do? I'm going to lean on him because he leaned on God. He leaned on his power source. So I'm going to lean on him. The power that comes from his power is going to come to me. This is common sense. This is common sense. The world got you thinking that's God is working. No, you lean on your God. A woman lean on you, you should respect her. That just sounds good in songs and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's secular thinking. But no woman in the room, but hey, I don't want you to lean on me, nigga. I'll be a nurturer. You know, I'll be a pillar of rest. That's what the book says she's supposed to be. A pillar of rest. Somewhere I can get some peace. Somewhere I can lay my head at. You know what I'm saying? Feel comfortable. No, my heart won't be spoiled. Won't do me evil none of my days. I can lean on you for support. Absolutely not. You're a grown man. You're supposed to be able to support yourself. Mentally, spiritually. If you're a man, you need support. Don't lean on your brothers. You were talking about this the other day. I don't care what nobody say. No grown man ought to never cry in front of no woman. Unless somebody die. Outside of that, cry in the car. Cry in the bathroom. Come in there, you all right? I'll be all right in a little bit. Don't let her see she'll lose respect for you. You're around here weeping, she look at this nigga emotionally unstable. It'll just be natural. The first thing clicking on my she emotionally unstable. She don't even need no conscious thought. That's the first thing she in here crying. Ain't nobody died. You crying because you lost your job, nigga, get enough. Can't leave this nigga cry. Every time something bad happens, this nigga crying. You can cry, just don't let her see it. Cry in the bathroom, man. Make sure you get your tears out your face and the boogers out your nose. You know what I'm saying? Let her know it's been kind of rough, but we'll get through it. She got to be able to trust your ability to handle adversity. That's why you don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Tell you, I done seen it too. Cry in front of you want to. The woman say, you can do it in front of me. Then she gonna start calling you busters and all this other type of stuff. You're gonna be looking crazy. Next thing you know, you're gonna be at my creep lip. You know what I'm talking about? Get you a bottle of yak. Because you drunk all the time. She talked to me in the kind of way, bro, I don't understand. That don't sound good. It look good on the movies and TV. Go about it in real life. See what happened to you. See what happened to you. Every time something like this nigga here crying. She gonna clown you in front of your face and all her friends. Girl, this nigga be crying like a hoe. He be crying like all this nigga always do is cry. Every time something happens, he crying. I'm telling you. I learned that through experience. I ain't never cried in front of no woman, but that nigga I know who did, boy. Ain't nothing good happen. You know what I'm talking about? Don't do it. Don't do it. Do it. Even when Yahushua cried, who he cried in front of? His brothers. That's who he cried in front of. He walked away from Martha and Mary when Lazarus dead was weeping. But see, even then it's acceptable. Somebody died, that's acceptable. If you somebody you love died and you just stand there stone face, you know, maybe you're not a crier. But shoot, nigga, you weird. You know what I'm saying? Niggas dead. You know what I'm saying? That's a reasonable expectation to shed a tear to in public. But just random stuff happening, you crying? Life stuff? Life's hard, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, go to the bathroom, man. Shed a tear too. Come on out. I got it. She got to be able to trust your ability, man. I'm telling you, they see you do that, they think you're emotionally unstable. I say, ain't nothing wrong with crying, but you don't want your woman to think you're emotionally unstable. Because then she's going to be like, say, I'm a tranny. It's no different than a man with a masculine woman. You might well get him a tranny. Same difference. There's no difference. You don't want no emotional man. And they know this too. Because that's what they see that as. You're emotional. You're supposed to be a servant of Elohim. Is servants of Elohim supposed to be emotional? I lost my job. I'm crying. Nigga hit my car. I'm crying. Nigga disrespected me. I'm crying. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what's a lot of reasons, situations, and circumstances people would cry for. You know what I'm saying? Just for me in life, ain't a lot of things to cry for. It's just life. Maybe because I've been in a lot of adverse situations, so I see it like, you know, I seen niggas cry because they got 40 years. I don't understand why they would. You know what I'm saying? I probably cried too. You know what I'm talking about? But then again, I put myself in a position to get 40 years. So what I'm crying about? I seen a grown man get 75 years, man. Nigga, when I'm 25 years old, what you gonna do with that? Seen a dude more years than he lived. Dude 19, they gave him a quarter. Gave him a homeboy life sentence, he 21. Nigga probably went to his cell and cried. You know what I'm saying? But shoot, what you gonna do with that? That's why Yahushua say, now guess what? You be a sinner, what do he say you gonna be doing? Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, you'll cry too, you finna go to hell. You know what I'm talking about? Same way nigga crying. They gave me 10 years, nigga crying. Say, yo, you don't cry too. Don't put yourself in that, man. What cry tears of joy? Now, tears of joy is different. You got tears of joy, shoot, your baby been born, you standing there, that's different. She ain't gonna look at you crazy. No, you know tears of joy. No woman gonna size you for tears of joy. She gonna size you for tears though. You laughing because you know it ain't no lie. They know it ain't no lie. They want you to, the difference of opening yourself up is different than being a whole nigga. It's different between the two. You can reveal your thoughts and your feelings, you know what I'm saying, and emotions in situations and circumstances. Just sitting around crying all the time. No, that's different. That's different. That's different. Now there's a difference now. Don't get twisted. You should be able to look at you. If you trust your wife with your heart, you should be able to tell her, this is what I'm feeling at the time. But you know what I'm saying? But most masculine men, they look at, hey, this is what happened. This is how I feel. Gotta move on. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna dwell on it. Because she'll look at you crazy if you do that too. If you're dwelling on your feelings for 3, 4, 5 weeks, she's gonna question your ability to lead her. Because you have to imagine if Yahuwah was emotional. Would you follow it? Just imagine if Yahuwah was emotional. And a case in point why I say this here, right? Usually when somebody gets angry, they usually do what? Lash out. You know what I'm saying? And do the first impulse that comes to their mind. What are the things that you see with Yahuwah when he get angry? Was he slow to wrath or was he quick to it? He was slow to it. So when somebody who's slow to wrath, that means they have what? They have self-control, which means they have the ability to discern, which means they have understanding, which means they have wisdom. So guess what that makes you want to do? That allows you to give yourself over to follow him. Because just because you may do something to make them angry, they will not automatically react with that. You know what I'm saying? That engenders you to have the ability to trust him. The same token that he told Moses, what he told Moses? He said, man, I might as well just don't kill all of them and make greater people out of you. Moses said, but what about the Egyptians and this, that, and the third? He said, you know what? You're right. I repent of what I said I'm going to do. But guess what? These people going to know my glory. You know what I'm saying? That's what that means about having them not being emotional. Because you made Yahuwah upset, but if he was emotional, he would have reacted to the impulse of emotion. And a man is never supposed to be emotional because that means you're led by your emotion, which means you're going to react according to your emotion. You're not going to use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So because you're not going to use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you're not going to be able to discern. And because you're not going to be able to discern, you're going to make the wrong decision. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make the wrong decision. Now, when we look at us as human beings, as we just law is in your heart. Or his word is in you, then guess what you would not be? You would be led by the Spirit. And as all those who are led by the Spirit, they are what? The sons of Elohim. So if you're a son of Elohim, you're going to operate according to the word. Case in point, when they came to grab Yahusha and Peter grabbed that sword and cut his ear off, what did he tell Peter he could do? What did he tell Peter what he could have the ability to have done? I could pray to my Father right now for 12 legions of angels and be out of here. You know what I'm saying? And the emotional reaction, because what did Peter do? He reacted what? Emotionally. They coming to kill my master. I'm ready to fight. On a natural level, so you look at it, he ain't wrong. And if Yahusha would have reacted emotionally, what would he have done? Prayed for the 12 legions of angels, knowing his father would have took heed to that request, and the book don't get fulfilled. He allowed the word to dictate. The word say, I got to die. We can't do that, Peter. We can't do that. Okay, some point when he told Peter, get behind me, Satan. Why did he tell Peter that? Because he was trying to tell him you're not gonna die. If he's reacting emotionally, then he gonna, you know what, I ain't gonna die. That's the point. Because every time that you've seen Yahusha faced with adversity, you've never seen him react emotionally. Everything was always according to the word. And if you're following him and you see that, that causes you to know that he is stable because he's founded upon a rock. And if he's founded upon a rock, then I can be founded upon him. Therefore, I will follow him. But if they would have seen him be emotional and lose his wits, crying on every cut and corner, they're going back to where they came from. I can't follow this man. He's not stable. That's why the book said a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. A double-minded person is emotional. When you're emotional, you can never be stable. So therefore, you can't get anything from Yahuwah, and no one would follow you or listen to you. That's why the man is compared to the sun, because the sun is consistent. That's why the woman is compared to the moon, because the moon goes through phases. They change. You know what I mean? Nevertheless, I finished that in John 17. But, because I don't want to focus on the affliction part too heavy. Eugene, 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 Eugene. What do y'all think that mean that he of a merry heart have a continual feast? I ain't gonna get to that part with the firmament today. I see that. But I get it next week, y'all. He that has a merry heart has a continual feast. Like to do his will. Let me give you some of them words. One word you know. Now, when they tell you that he is of a merry heart, the word for merry is told. Y'all know what that means. But say it for those who don't. Who don't know what told means good. Means very, good. Very good. They say very, very good, pleasant, agreeable, better in comparison. Also means very good. Did it though? They say good understanding, good, right, ethical. Of course, you know that's left. So when you got a good and agreeable heart or a merry heart, we need to look at what it is to have a good heart. I don't. Now, we just read earlier in Isaiah 51 that it said that the Torah would be in his heart, those that know righteousness. So we see those that have a merry heart or a good heart, the word is in it. See, that's why Yahushua told you what? Make the tree good and his what? And his fruit good. Because the tree is known by its fruit. See, you can't have a good heart if the word is not in it. Because he said that the thoughts of man are what? Vain. He said he made man upright. Man sought out many inventions. So that's why you need the word in it. So when you have a good heart, this is how you can have a continual feast, or an agreeable heart. The only way your heart can agree is what we talked about last night. You got to be sanctified by him who's been sanctified, and then you all are one. If you in Yahuwah, that's why I said this. Like I said, I was telling a homeboy this here the other day while we were riding. I explained this something to him. You can't tell people you got the Ruach and then you turn around and you do some wickedness. That will make people disrespect Yahuwah because of what you did. You know what I'm saying? That make people talk bad about him. Because if you had a good heart, there could be no way that you could go do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna happen. You know what I'm talking about? It's just not gonna happen. There's no way it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because at that point we saying Yahuwah sins. That's why when somebody tell you, "Oh, we can never stop sinning," but I got a spirit, Yahuwah ain't with a nigga, he lying. Because it said ain't no iniquity with Yahuwah. Ain't that what it say? So we can take that to the bank then. You know what I'm saying? Yahuwah ain't gonna look in your face and tell you no bold-faced lie. Yahuwah ain't gonna do that. Yahuwah ain't gonna be down there bowing down, worshiping Ashtaroth. I seen somebody like this. I actually seen somebody on TV the other day with the ashes on his head for lint. I was tripping. So I'm like, niggas real still do that? Man, on TV for gas. Yeah, they was worshiping Tammuz. That is absolutely mark of the beast, sign of the covenant. That's what they doing at Mardi Gras. That's a festival for Tammuz. Ain't no sunshiny day in hell. They get me to go to New Orleans during Mardi Gras. That's just something. If I ain't get to it before the word, it ain't gonna get out. I ain't going around now. That's for Tammuz. To the city. I can understand. I definitely ain't going to for Mardi Gras, but that's for Tammuz. See, Ash Wednesday and Palm Sunday, all that stuff they got doing it. They have 40 days where they wept for Tammuz. You can read that thing in the book of Jeremiah. It say, "Seen the women." What's in say the women were weeping for Tammuz. They try to say that Tammuz's story is similar as Yahushua's, but it's not. If you do your research and you look into it, not even close. You know what I'm saying? But Tammuz got killed, and they wept for him 40 days, and that's why they put the ashes on their forehead, mourning for Tammuz. You gotta remember that Roman Catholicism is Babylonian pagan sun worship. That's why you see the similarities between Roman Catholicism and Islam, because they're the same thing. They were created by the same people. You know what I'm saying? Islam is not different, because Islam is the daughters of Allah. They worship in vaginas. And that's what they do in the Roman Catholic Church. They worship vaginas. They worship the goddess, the mother goddess. It just depends on what name you want to call it. You want to call it Ashtaroth, you want to call it Semiramis, Asherah, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Allah, because I say, see, they prey on your ignorance. They know you're not going to read. Like, why would you spend, if you weren't into religion or studying religion, then why would you read that? Like, if that wasn't your major in college or you just had an inclination to find that interesting, why would you go read that? You wouldn't know. I just had an interest, so I knew. You know what I'm saying? Because I like humanities class and all this stuff, so I knew all these myths and stories. So as I got older, you know what I'm saying, and started seeing this and seeing that, and that's when I be, all this stuff fraudulent. So what ends up happening, because at least speaking for myself, I don't know the text, then you go to blaming the text, but I had enough wisdom at a certain point to understand that it wasn't something that was wrong with the word, it was something wrong with the people who saying that they were teaching the word. I knew they didn't know what they were talking about. So I couldn't hold that to him, because I know they don't know what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And since I don't know it, and I don't know nobody who know what they're talking about, I'm just not gonna fool with it. You know what I'm saying? People come to jail to go to reading the scriptures and all that. I ain't do none of that. Read it for what? I ain't gonna follow nothing in it for what I'm reading for. I'm gonna do this bid. I'm gonna come home. Whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be. I wasn't ever that type to, I'm gonna get into this, and I knew I had no intentions on doing it. No, I'm not gonna do that. For what? And I need to understand it. That's another reason why a lot of men don't like going to church. Because this is a book of instruction, and men are creatures who desire to be instructed. And if we in here singing, clapping, and this, that, and the third, then they don't want to be there. What am I here for? I ain't learning anything. So if I'm not learning anything, why am I here? To impress this woman, to make it seem like I'm violent? Man, I'm finna go smoke this blunt. Because that's what I was finna do when I left here anyway. So why am I even coming here if I know I'm gonna live the same way when I leave here? Don't make no sense. I ain't coming. You know what I'm saying? See, women are a little different. I want that emotional high. I know I'm gonna be a hoe when I leave here. I know I'm finna get drunk when I leave here. I know I just left the club last night, but I'm gonna come in here with the tightest and shortest skirt I can find to make her feel better about herself that she was here, even though she knows she has no desire to do what it says. You know what I'm saying? Most men don't operate that way. Most men, I don't want to be here. Because I'm finna do what I want to do and I want to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out. Because the nigga don't want to be sitting there, some punk up here singing and clapping. You know what I'm talking about? This punk nigga up here, man, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So listen to this, man. You know the pastor done slept with 4 women in the back. You know what I'm saying? You're not taking him seriously. What I'm listening to him for? I'm finna go into the house. You know what I'm saying? Stop asking me to come in here. Dudes only come to hit hoes. That's what he coming there for. I forgot about the Eucharist. I ain't seen that in a long time. Praise Yahuwah for that. And they be around there bowing down to the Eucharist in the sun. I do some weird stuff, man. You do weird stuff, man. But come over here to Hebrews chapter 8. And after that, Luke 17. I sound hard, but I'm just being honest though. Sometimes it needs to be spoken hard. And maybe you'll understand. Focus on it. I mean, that's what a lot of people problem is. You know, we live in a politically correct society. So you don't want to say stuff to offend people. I don't care if I offend you. If I offend you under salvation, praise Yahuwah. And if I offend you to damnation, well, you know, praise Yahuwah. Either way it goes, praise Yahuwah. That's how I feel. Let Yahuwah be praised. Let his word be proclaimed, and let his righteousness be extolled. And whoever get offended, so be it. 8 and 6. As a matter of fact, I want you to get this Hebrews 8 and 6, Luke 17, about verse 15, and then 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Of course, y'all know this Hebrews 8 is referring to Jeremiah 33. We kind of touched on some of these points in Ezekiel 36, but I want you to understand it says, he that has a good heart has a continual peace. So we need to understand, because remember the characters for heart is what? Lamad and Pi. So this is the teachings of the Son. The Son is teaching you. He said, whoever believe on whoever sent me, he said, whosoever believes on me, believe on him that sent me. And he's telling you, I ain't doing nothing teaching you. You know what I'm saying? This is why it's when you see in the scripture, I seen a woman just snap on somebody about this here. This patriarchy been holding us down, and this, that, and the third, and all that stuff come about because people hate male authority. So really, again, put the physical male out the way, they just hate Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? Because Yahuwah is the epitome of man. Because what does the text say that man was made in? His image, his likeness. At the end of the day, that's who they hate. It's not that, because in first, I think it's First Thessalonians chapter 4. He said, "He that despiseth not man, but Elohim, because he's given to us his Ruach HaKodesh." That's who they hate. I just want you to understand that. That's who they hate. You're just a representation of the person who they hate.
Why you understand?
Hebrews 8:6. He said, "But now he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. For if that first covenant had been faultless, there should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with him, he said, Behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and with the house of Yehudah. Not according to the covenant that I made with the fathers in the day when I took them by their hand to lead them out of the land of Israel, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith Yahuwah. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Yasharal after those days, saith Yahuwah. I will put my Torah in their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them an Elohim, and they shall be to me a people. So what is he telling you? He's giving you the Ruach. So that means that's how you got a good heart. That's how your heart is agreeable, because now you're perfect and one with him. And this leads you to having a continual feast. Let's come back over here to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. Probably about verse 5. Make that 3 and 2. Make it 3 and 1. Because I ain't gonna read everything in it. You can read, Eugene? Oh, you're a big boy. Well, thankfully he was using his phone and not his book. He took his page. Took the man's page. No reason. He was rough. 2 Corinthians 3 and 1. He said, Do we begin again to commend ourselves, or need we, as some others, epistles of commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? You are an epistle written in our hearts, known and read of all men, for as much as you are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Mashiach, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Ruach, by the living Elohim, not in tables of stone, but in fleshly tables of the heart. In the book of Ezekiel, what did he say the type of heart you had, and what would he replace it with? Heart of stone. And he would give you a heart of flesh. Now remember, right? The law written on tables of stone, and then ironically, what happens to you if you violate it? You get stoned. So the very thing that condemns you is what you get condemned with. That's why it calls it the covenant of condemnation. It was never intended to give you life. So I know a lot of Bruisers get offended by that when they hear that, but it's the truth. The law was never intended to give you life. It is the knowledge of good and evil. And when you violate it, you are condemned. You know what I'm saying? The gospel is what? The gospel of reconciliation. That means to bring you back unto him. That's what she got. Oh, she always got one of those. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Why don't you help? But think about that though. Because if you violate in a new covenant, then what opportunity, what happens there? Two options that happen there. You have an advocate, or you have the fearful look of condemnation. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Because if you violated Moses' law, there was no mercy. There was no mercy. You know what I'm saying? That's what dudes don't really look. There ain't no mercy when you violated Moses' law. That was if Yahuwah chose to extend it. But there wasn't no mercy built in. Law say you sin, blood be upon him. Stone that nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's what I tell you. You don't lead off with the law. The law ain't gonna bring nobody to you. The law, for the most part, make somebody be like, nah, I'm good. So I got to get, so I'm going to hell because I'm a homosexual? Yes, you are, sir. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what you want me to. Look at, man, I done talked to a couple sodomites in my career. They didn't walk away, maybe. I mean, I told them the truth, because they outright asked, am I going to go to hell for this? And I said, undo it. Oh, yeah, you're going. If you continue down that path, you need to repent. You know what I'm saying? Indubitably. Maybe get on fast. But either way it goes, the nigga going to hell. I remember homeboy looked at it and told me, he just came home from prison and they're like, bro, I'm going to go to hell, bro. I said, well, you already know the answer to that question. I don't know why you at. Because he wanted to see, was I going to tap? I'm like, you going to go, bro. I said, you just smashed the whole last night. You're not finished telling me about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, what you mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're going. The question is not, are you going? How do you want to go? Ask a different question. You know what I'm saying? Just like I was telling you earlier, right? I go to these boys at that demo. I got to they telling me what they can't do. Instead of telling me what you can't do, tell me what you can do. Tell me how you can get it done. Change the way you think, it changes your reality. If you tell yourself you can't stop sinning, tell yourself why you can't stop sinning. Then you can stop, because you'll be trying to figure out a solution why I can't stop. But if you say I can't stop, that's what you always gonna focus on. I can't stop. You know what I'm saying? You can't focus on what you can't do or what you didn't have. Well, what can you do to acquire that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta change the way you think. I've been telling y'all that. You gotta change the way you think. You're gonna get the book tell you what in the book of Proverbs. As a man think, so is he. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to be according to how you think. That's why I say a good heart has a continual feast. Because if you have a good heart or a good mind, what makes you have a good mind? The word of Yahuwah is good. So why wouldn't you have a good heart? You know what I'm saying? You have to change the way that you think. That's what they say, put the law in your mind and in your heart. If the law is in your mind and in your heart, that's what you're going to do. You're going to live according to how you think. If you think upon righteousness, then what are you going to execute? Righteousness. If you think upon wickedness, guess what you're going to do? Wickedness. This is simple. Life is not hard. Life is simple. Now, life in totality is hard because you never know what can occur. But life in and of itself, at its root, is simple. We make things a lot more difficult than they need to be. And life is made a lot more difficult than we need to be because you don't think properly and because of emotions. And possibly, can't leave that out, trying to please men. But that's why he says some of the people wouldn't come to Mashiach because they were pleasers of men, rather than pleasers of Elohim, or wanted the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. My error. That's what makes people. If you don't care about what people think, and if you don't care about what people say, and you focus on what you can control and your thoughts and your actions and your attitude, Yahuwah will and everything take care of itself. Because at the end of the day, you have to realize Yahuwah is in control. Do your part and let Yahuwah take care of the rest. You know what I'm saying? And if it don't go your way, it's probably for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I told y'all this before, I tell you again. Because she always mentioned that at least for herself. In your life, what is Yahuwah trying to teach you? Everything you go through is for a purpose of instruction. It's a purpose of instruction to purge you so you can be perfect and come through the pure gold so he can bring you into his house. Man, they told you, man said you got vessels of honor, you got vessels of dishonor. That man ain't finna bring nothing in this house. You used to say this all the time. You gonna let somebody come in your house who gonna muddy up your carpet? You gonna let somebody come in your house gonna make your whole house filthy? You know, as soon as they come in here, they got doodle on their hand, they gonna spit on the wall. You know what I'm talking about? Just walking there, spit all on the floor. I used to see dudes we be trapping, they just spit on the floor. I mean, this nigga, you don't be sitting in here. That's not what it is you doing. You fuck it out. This nigga, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But you had some dudes that look at the trap like that. Oh, it's a trap. Because it's a trap don't mean it's a rundown house. You got this thing's on the floor. Nigga dump ashes on the floor. But guess what that's what this tells other people they can do. Same thing. When he dump ashes on the floor, I can dump ashes on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Shoot. If he's smearing doodle on the wall, shoot, I can smear mine on the wall. Why would I want to do it? I don't know, but he's doing it, so screw it. And that's how that's why he say nothing that defile coming in here. Ain't nobody in here gonna think they can do it. So I'm put you outside the door. You want to clean that up before you come in here. Because I seen some people always talking about, oh, I said come as you are, the lies you tell. Where he read that? Where anybody ever read that at? Come as you are. That's all you're gonna get is here.
That's what you know what I'm talking about?
The workers. Yeah, he can't even use that because that's preaching.
I know, but that's come on there.
Come as you are. You know who I always hear say come as you are? Women. And dudes just repeat it because they done heard women say it. You know God said come as you are. What you mean? What he said come as a sinner? Where he told you that? You can't even approach to him. You can't even approach to him. That man said, wash you, make you clean, cease from doing evil from before my eyes. That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? What? Oh, I forgot about that because that nigga Brandon asked me about that. Okay, come on, bro. That man told everybody, y'all better wash your body, wash your clothes, and don't lay with your life or you come holler at me. Because if you don't do that for you come holler at me, somebody gonna die. You understand that? That man told him, don't you go home and beat and ski. He said, don't you go home and do that. That man say, don't you do that. That man say, well, you can at least wash your drawers. Don't come before me with them dirty behind clothes on. Don't come at me and you ain't washed your body. Your nuts all funky, underarms smelling like death. You want to come holler at me. That's why Paul came back behind him and said, let us wash ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit. You got to cleanse yourself up when you come to that man. You ain't come to that man any kind of way. That's Cain talk. Cain came any kind of way. What did Abel do? Abel brought the what? The best of everything. You step to you got to bring your best. Don't bring nothing half to him. He don't take it. You want somebody to bring you anything less than their best? Somebody came and brought you a raggedy gift. You go, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. See, you're going to do that because you want it. I'm looking at it. I don't want this crap. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what you brought it for. That ain't this. You ungrateful. You ungrateful for bringing it. You know what I'm talking about? You shouldn't have brought it. You know what I'm talking about? You're going to buy me a bicycle, the chain ain't on. You know what I'm talking about? Well, what you brought it for? Now I got to buy a chain to ride the bike. You know what I'm saying? And you think I'm supposed to be happy. But you bought me a bicycle that I cannot ride. I bought you a car, but it ain't got no engine. Great. You shouldn't have brought it. Bring me a car with no engine. And that's how Cain felt too. You shouldn't take these cars. You want some other ones, why don't you grow some more? You got power over everything. Wicked bastard. Nigga, I ain't even want a dog. I ain't asked you to bring me that. I told him to bring you your best. I had a Benz in the yard. Nigga, you brought me a dog. No, I'm just saying that nigga, you brought me like this here. That's the worst part too. Like you say, sacrifices of the wicked are the abomination. Because you're going to give me what you don't want. You're going to keep what you want and bring me what you don't want. And think I'm supposed to be like, you're going to keep what's better. You're going to keep what's better for yourself. That's that ugly right there, man. You can't live your life like that. Not with you. Luke 17. That's gonna be sounding hard to like this. You gotta sit back and look at stuff and be like, man, that's just real. Like, what people out here doing? I've been laughing a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, be getting married with white on, been a whole since the 70s. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, what's pure about you? If you've been to buy, that Brandon kept talking about which one of y'all brothers asked her, the wife's father for her hand. Well, which one of them was a virgin, nigga? Because she ain't no virgin, ain't need no ask your daddy for. What am I asking him for? I ain't paying a nigga dowry for used goods. So this already been used. You want me to pay you for it? What type of sense that make? I'm gonna pay you for something that been used. But that's the only thing niggas look at that you should be happy. Like nobody don't want a pre-owned car. Everybody want a brand new car. No man don't want a pre-owned woman. He want a brand new woman. We don't live in that society where that's the case anymore. But back in antiquity, niggas was gonna be, come on, man, niggas be 38 hot, but they expected a brand new vehicle, straight with a new car smell. That's what they expect. Yeah. Straight up. That's what they expect. And being honest with you, that's what they was expecting. That's what that law said. Zeros on the tag. They ain't even drove it up. They pushed it off the cargo thing. They ain't even drive it off. They want that junk to have 0, 0, 0, 0. Ain't nobody stepping no foot in it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we don't live in that type of time, but I'm telling him this in regards of, bro, stop asking them stupid. Well, you had to ask the father. I'm like, well, nigga, the father chose my husband for this woman. So what is you asking for? The man that wanted to marry didn't ask the daddy. The daddies had a conversation. Look at me, I got a son around the corner for your third daughter. She's looking all right. What you want to do? I got a couple goats, got a few sheep, got some shekels. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Is that reasonable? Can we negotiate? You know what I'm saying? You know, I got a little bit of land over here. You know, and you know what? Because at the end of the day, it's the daughter, it's the man with the daughter who's losing something. So he trying to, what you recompensing me for? That's how that works. And then you looking like, what? No, I was. Oh, you think about who you gonna sell your son to? No. She liking this here, boy. You better know how to negotiate. How you look. Because you need to take a class. Nah, I've been messing with like this. Better not take a class. You don't lose out on the deal. Come back. You gave him what? Ah, you got gap. She like I said, I need to do negotiations. What it is? Luke 17. I'm in John. That's not true. He always be saying that. Which one of you brothers asked for your wife? Man, sit your stupid behind down somewhere. You got to do bro like that, because bro don't be thinking. 17 and 20, he don't be thinking. I know I said 15 ain't what it was. Bro don't be thinking. He didn't be saying stuff. He didn't be saying stuff. You know what I mean? And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of Elohim should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of Elohim come not with observation. Neither shall you say, lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Elohim is within you. What is that? That's the word of faith of which we preach. And what it say in Deuteronomy 30 and Romans 10, that the word is not in heaven, that somebody need to go to heaven to bring it down to you. It's not in the sea that somebody need to go in the sea and bring it to you. But it's near to you and nigh to you, in your heart and in your mouth, that you should do it. That's what makes you have a good heart. It's a heart of faith, because that word reside in, and the word will direct you. You know what I'm saying? Remember we talking about a good man, Yahuwah direct the steps of a good man, like we mentioned earlier in Romans chapter 8. Those that are led by the Ruach of Elohim are the sons of Elohim. You know why you a son of Elohim? If you led by the spirit of Elohim, follow your father's instructions. Most of us were not raised in that household. I have a mind to follow another man's instructions, even if he was a full-grown man. Because Isaac was a full-grown man, and he listened to what his father told him to do. That's why I've been telling y'all for years. It don't matter how grown you get. You still have to follow your parents' instructions. Now, granted, once you get married, your father's supposed to sit himself down somewhere. You know what I'm saying? He's supposed to be intervening. That ain't got nothing to do with you now. You have abdicated that responsibility over to someone else. You stay in your place. You know what I'm saying? It's not your place to guide your daughter no more. Because at that point, what she got a husband for? You stay over there. Most men who are men of respect, they're gonna respect that. They're gonna be glad she can start calling me. You know what I'm talking about? Don't call me no more. Call me with this, call me with that. What you got that nigga around there for? He ain't serve you no purpose. I know different. You calling your mama, you got a wife to the house. But what you got around there for? Well, mama, I'm hungry. Shoot, should have picked a better hoe. For real though, because you got some women that be quick to baby their son, even though he married. Stay ain't in no place. Stay in your place. Your son get married, don't you be around there messing with his wife. I've been told you this here. You ain't supposed to let nobody walk through the door and disrespect your wife. I wouldn't care who it was. Go ahead and give a nice old Shawn Michaels drop kick off the top rope in her 10 and send her to the house. Sweet, straight up. Learn your place, mama. Learn your place. Mama, I love you. Don't come in here disrespecting this from him. Because that ain't gonna let nobody come in the house and disrespect you. You could be the nastiest, no good help in the world. He ain't gonna let nobody come in here and disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? He don't let it happen. And you ain't supposed to let that happen. I ain't talking about you got to duck up and fight everybody. Ain't nobody supposed to be coming through disrespecting your wife. Nobody in your family. I can't see why a stranger would randomly disrespect your wife. That's something totally different. You know what I'm saying? But you come in here, oh, she can't cook. Well, shoot, I tell you, your cooking ain't too hot either. But it's don't tell you nothing because they like you. You know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna see. I know he will. That nigga directed this nasty. I don't want. See, some people don't do that. They sit there and be nice. I'm just saying, I'm good. You ain't hungry, baby? Shoot, you should already know. If you know me, you know I like to eat. So if I ain't ate it, it's junk trash. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up now. I ain't hungry. Straight up. You look like the type of nigga just looking nigga dead this day. Throw the plate in the trash tomorrow. He gonna extra at him. He gonna scan the room to find a nigga who cooked so we can lock eyes with. Boy, that hard. He gonna let it know the macaroni tastes like wood. He's like, yeah, he boy, that wild. But come over here, look at this word for continual peace. We get out of it. That word for feast is a little different word than you might be familiar with. But it's mishtake. You got meme, Sean, Tau, and Hay. Meme, Sean, Tau, and Hay. It's used in a few places. We might look at a couple verses where that's mentioned. There'd be so much to go through. Yes, sir. That word defines to feast, drink, and banquet. Feast, drink, or banquet. You can get your Genesis 19 and Genesis 21 and Genesis 26. But we just grab them. Let's look at Genesis 19 while y'all pondering upon that. Genesis 19 and 1. Genesis 19 and 1. And there came two Malachim to Sodom at even. Lot sat in the gate at Sodom. Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet him, and he bowed himself with his face towards the ground. And he said, behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And you shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him and entered into his house. And he made them a feast and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. So when we look at them and making a feast, what is the difference? Now, he did mention it, and I put on that, behold, you be paired to the mark of life. Which is about the same thing, paired to the mark of life. What is that mark? It's the Ruach HaKodesh. Because what does it say in Ezekiel chapter 8? To not strike anybody who had what? The mark in their forehead. That's why she mentioned that Ash Wednesday mark is mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is a sign of a covenant. You know what I'm saying? It's not a microchip according to the text. It's a sign of a covenant. Because y'all already know that. The beast will sit down and teach people that he is the Messiah. He'll have knowledge of the text. He'll teach people this. People will enter into a covenant with him. Because that same mark in your forehead and in your hand is in the book of Ezekiel, the book of Exodus, when they came up out of Egypt, that they had a mark in their forehead and in their hand. Because a mark is a sign of a covenant, according to the text. You know what I'm saying? Will they put microchips in people? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't the mark of the beast, though. Because anybody can get a microchip in their head. You know what I'm saying? But he gonna sit down and teach people. He gonna tell people he God, and people gonna believe it too. You know what I'm saying? But he just, see, the thing is he just ain't gonna jump up one day and say he God. He has to use scripture in order to persuade you. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody jump up and say they God, that ain't gonna do nothing to nobody. But if I can say, look at what I just did, they parallel to the script, and you've been thinking this stuff is myths, and now you seeing somebody doing it, and they giving an understanding of the script that most people in the world do not have, that's very persuasive. You know what I'm saying? That is very persuasive. It ain't like them left behind books and movies and all that stuff that he making. Nigga come in and bring world peace. Oh God, worship me, and everybody do it. That makes absolutely no sense. You know what I'm saying? Why would anybody do that? It's just good theater. When you're talking about human minds, the average person in the world don't follow the Bible or believe it. You know what I'm saying? So if you see somebody who's working peace And then saying you see these verses and giving some understanding, and then they see him living, and then he make fire come down from heaven, and then he get killed and resurrected from the dead. That could be highly persuasive to someone who doesn't know anything. So it can be highly persuasive to somebody who claims to know that. And then they're gonna follow him. And this is what the text says. It's very plain. It's not even like, oh, niggas making this like it's very, very plain that this is what's gonna happen. Like we've all read that verse. You take the deadly wound and rise. Some people, oh, that's a Roman. No, he's gonna recreate what happened to Yahushua. He's gonna die, he's gonna resurrect. You know what I'm saying? And people see that, you're gonna be thrown. Why are you gonna be thrown? Because you heard about Yahushua resurrected from the dead, but you didn't see that. Now you just seen somebody who you saw got killed, and now he's alive again, and now he got power. That's gonna throw you. You know what I'm saying? If you're not rooted in the faith, that's gonna throw you. But let's go over here to Genesis 21. Oh no! 21 and 1. And Yahuwah visited Sarah, as he said, and Yahuwah did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of the son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as Elohim commanded him. And when Abraham was 100 years old, when his son Isaac was born unto him, Sarah said, Elohim had made me to laugh, so that he will hear, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And he said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned. Abraham made a great feast the same day Isaac was weaned. Who knows what feast this represents? No, that ain't Passover. That is first fruits. Why is it first fruits? Because it's Isaac, the firstborn son of Abraham. Or as the text describes it, as his only son. That's how Isaac is described in the law. When he go to take him to the I think in Genesis chapter 22, that's his only son. Ishmael is not counted as his son. Why is Ishmael not counted as his son? He was not of the promise. That's why you're not counted as a son of Elohim unless you're of the promise. That's what makes you have a good heart, to have the word in your heart, because you know righteousness, because you believe the promise of faith, and that's how that make you a son. You know what I mean? That's what makes you a son. That's what makes you a son. That's why it says all Yasharal is not Yasharal. But those that say the children of the flesh are not counted as the seed, but the children of the promise. Children of the promise are those who are faith. That's what makes you have a good heart. Now that feast in Sodom and Gomorrah was different, because this is the feast, because I didn't mention it, that's my apologies. But we read in Revelation 19 last night. Because what happens to Babylon according to Revelation 18? And what did she get destroyed with? Fire and brimstone. What did Sodom and Gomorrah get destroyed with? But before Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, they had a feast. See, after Babylon got destroyed, they have a feast. So what you're seeing with this feast with Lot and the Malachim is a feast of celebration, because Lot is about to be told that he's going to be delivered. You understand what I'm saying? Now let's look at Genesis chapter 26. So Genesis 26 is what I want.
What did you say that was?
Oh, that would be akin to what happened in Babylon and Revelation 18 and 19.
So they ain't like Passover.
No, the one for the one for Passover is Abraham and Melchizedek. Don't worry about Genesis 26. Get Genesis 29. 29 and 21. Remember how we read in Joel Chapter 2, that the bridegroom will come out of where? His chamber. Come get his wife. Look what he say here. Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled that I may go in unto her. Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. What Yahushua said he coming to do? To gather all the men and make a feast. Ain't that what he coming to do? So this one here is tabernacle. The tabernacles is in gathering up the people for the marriage supper of the Lamb. That's why Jacob is starting, let me get my wife, bro. And what does Laban do? He makes a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. Don't it say it came to pass when? Why is that important that it said it came to pass at the evening that he got his wife? Because it tells you in Zechariah 14 that in the evening time it shall be what? Light. Another instance referring back to what we were looking at when he said that he would make everything go dark. But I want you to come now, and I want you to look at them characters again, like what I mentioned. The meme, the Shan, the Todd, and the Hay, but behold, comparing to the mark of life. Because everyone who is paired to the Ruach, because life is because of the meme, the Maim, or the water. The water is symbolic of life, or the Ruach HaKadosh. You take that towel, it means covenant or mark. That mark, sign, the Ruach is a sign that everlasting life is present. That's why he tells you that. And then, of course, you take that Shan, you're paired to it or you're joined, which goes back to what we were discussing about being one, and then you can behold that. Because no one will be beheld in the kingdom of Elohim that is not paired to him. If you're not joined to him, you're not getting in. And this is how you have a continual feast, which we will delve into a little bit more in Ezekiel 45 and 46, because it details all of these feasts. So as individuals who have the word in their heart, you have a continual feast. Let me give you that word for continual. I think it was a word for it. It was. And that's Tamid, Tamed, and that is for perpetuity. I know what perpetuity means, right? Pretty much means forever. So when you enter in, yeah, it just means pretty much forever. Long stretch, continual. Somebody say this has been going on for perpetuity, pretty much forever. Don't stop. So you have a good heart. Of course, you've already been afflicted. That's what gave you a good heart. Now you have a continual feast. Because that would have come in at now you have the wine that cheers Elohim and man, and why he said, I won't drink it new with you. Drink the fruit of this vine until I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Because now this is a continual feast. This happens every day. Because what did we discuss already? And we haven't got to them verses in Ezekiel yet, in them chapters. That's why I asked y'all that last night. Word. And I can roll with that. That's why I asked you that last night. You got to have a meat offering and a drink offering every day. They got to have a meat offering and a drink offering every Sabbath. They have to have a meat offering and a drink offering every new moon. They have to have a meat offering and a drink offering every feast. So that means this is a continual feast in the kingdom of Yahuwah because you are at peace. You will be do nothing but rejoicing. There'll be no pain. There'll be no sorrow. What you sad for? Put your face down for. The only people who gonna be mad is Gog and Magog, and that's it. But come over here to Ezekiel 33. I mean Jeremiah 33, just because. Jeremiah 33 and 9. To be to me a name of joy, of praise, and honor before all the nations of the earth. Which shall to it. Thus saith Yahuwah, again, there shall be heard in this place, but you shall be desolate without man and without peace. Even in the cities of Yehuda and the streets of Jerusalem that are desolate without man and without inhabitant and without peace, the voice of joy, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, Hallelujah of hosts, for you are good, and his mercy endure forever. And of them that shall bring sacrifice of praise into the house of Yahuwah, and I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith Yahuwah. Remember what he said, blessed are those that eat bread in the kingdom of Elohim. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say the marriage supper of the Lamb and all those who've been called to it. Because it's a continue. That's why I read Genesis 29. Because Genesis 29 was what? That was a marriage feast. That is a joyous occasion. It's a celebratory occasion. So when you look at that, you get brought back in because you have a good heart. Because he said he's espoused us to one wife, being a chaste virgin, and that is to Mashiach. Now, when somebody gets married, what do people do? They throw a party. It's not no wedding ceremony, the stuff that people do now. The agreement was made, a covenant was written, they throw a party. That's what our people did. The wedding, that's somebody else's stuff. You don't read nobody in the text having a ceremony, giving vows. I ain't said it in a while. You shouldn't give no wedding vows. Yes, your yay be yay and your nay be nay. You know what I'm talking about? If you give vows, you're going to be held to that in the eyesight of Yahuwah. There's a lot of people who done got divorced, they going to hell because they lied to Yahuwah because they swore they were going to do something before his face and did not do it. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And that's what Yahushua told us not to do. He said, don't swear now, not in heaven. You know what I'm saying? Because that's where Yahuwah's throne is, on earth, because that's his footstool. But let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you say you're going to be with that woman, say yes. Be with that man, say yes. And you know how you say it? Because you signed that covenant, you agreed to it. That's all that's necessary. Everything else is just irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? And we had this discussion. You ain't got no business getting on your knees proposing to no woman, because that ain't nothing but a sign of subservience. What you bending the knee to a woman for? That makes absolutely no sense. You know what I'm saying? You don't bend no knee to no woman. When men bow down to the apostles, what they told them to do? Get up. Say, I'm a man of like passions as you are. You got no business doing that. That's a different custom. That's from somebody else's culture where that come from. That don't come from your culture. Are you sinning if you do it? No, you're just a damn fool. You know what I'm saying? That's what you is. You're a fool. Because in the back of that mind, she knowing I got it. Because he on his knees to me. You know what I'm saying? Subconsciously you do. Subconsciously you do though. Because you already know it. Because everybody knows getting on a knee is a sign of submission. That's a sign of subservience. That's a sign that I'm saying that you're greater than me. Yeah, you just want to show everybody, look, I got a ring. You love me. Yeah, he got on his knees for me. He love me.
I ain't like that.
She just like that because she just like that. He love me. Look. Ain't nobody care. What's your close family? That's like they say, you finally made her an honest woman. That's what they said. You've been dishonest all these years. They say, praise the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's where that stuff come from. Wedding rings are not essential. They ain't needed. What that needed for? You already know you're married. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that. You think everybody walked around with the covenant at their house when you was in the land? What you need that for? You already knew Yahuwah was your husband. You don't need that. It's supposed to be in your heart. That's how you're supposed to move. That's how it's supposed to be. So when you come around and you look at it, you make like, I tell you, period. Well, don't sweat about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. Man, they didn't do none of that stuff for richer, for poor. That's nigga talk. And they be holding Bibles, reading out of it like they read that stuff. You don't read that book, you ain't seen that nowhere. Right on the front of it. I need to memorize that. They didn't open it up and light this here. For rich or for poor. Just don't do that. Now they ain't no biblical. Shoot. That's just as biblical as come as you are. You know what's biblical? Husbands, love your wives as Mashiach loved his wife. Wives, reverence your husbands. That's what he told you to do. He ain't talking about for sick or well, you supposed to. You married a nigga, you supposed to ride with him till he died. You know what I'm talking? That goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? Some stuff ain't got to be said. No, that ain't in the Bible. Absolutely not. Niggas they pulled that junk straight up out of their colon, not their butthole. They pulled that out of their colon, out their prostate. They made that up. I don't even know the origins of that. They just made that up. I do know the origins of that. I take that back. I can't recall it at this time. But yeah, that's oh no. Oh no. Oh, that till death do it. You know the crazy part, they say till death do us part. That's what Yahuwah law say. Bound to your spouse as long as they live. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing got a risk. Because the reason being, see, these people know what they be doing. You get you up there and you say all the vows, then you don't keep your vows. Now you don't swore to Yahuwah. And now he like this here. Look at this line here right here. Now you going to hell on the house. On the house. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going for no other reason, because not only that you lied, but you lied before the throne. That'd be the ugly call. Now, truth be told, y'all don't be swearing on Yahuwah now, because y'all don't say, as Yahuwah live, because that make it worse. If you stand in front and say, as Yahuwah live, I'm going to do this and do that. Oh, no. I ain't doing all that. Sign this paperwork. Just sign this paperwork. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need to do. The reason why they didn't do all that with all them vows, because the covenant is a contract. So when you sign a contract, that means you're going to abide by what? Everything that's in the contract. That's why in our culture, you were frowned upon if you entered into a covenant and you did not keep it. Because that means that you weren't a man of your word. Because this is why you was so upset with us breaking the covenant, because you said everything in this covenant you would do. See, that's how Yahuwah operate, be a man of your word. You signed this covenant, you said that's what you were going to do. You got to do all that swearing, all that vowing, and all that for what? You said this is what you were going to do. Go ahead. Oh, no, not that, but Yahuwah doesn't look at it whether you in the word or not. He look at it as my standard is my standard. As it says in Romans 2, which ties back to what happened to the Kenites, those who some will die with the law, and some gonna perish without it. So whether you know or not, he looking at you just lied. That's all he kept. Because like there's a lot of people don't know the word who sodomites. Oh, they straight. That's with anybody. That's with anybody. That's with anybody. Oh no. We didn't have that comment. No, don't get me wrong, but shoot, at that point, I can't do nothing about that. Me personally, that's up to Yahuwah. Yeah, I know what I'm saying, to get that information. Maybe some of the people who didn't know that and they found that information out and rejected it. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. But now he ain't gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna condemn you, and you heard and you repented. But whether you hear or you don't hear, you still gonna answer for it. Because the Canaanites ain't here no long. He slaughtered all of them. You know what I'm saying? They were wild. You know, the Canaanites, they were wild. You know what I'm saying? But even still, when you look at the heavens above, the gospel still being preached to you, so you're still getting held accountable. You just don't realize it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, most people who break wedding vows, they got bigger problems. They probably got all manner of sins. Breaking the wedding vows, the least of their concern. You know what I'm saying? Because they got probably other stuff they got going. You know what I'm saying? Mainly, they don't worship Yahuwah, which is the biggest offense of them all. You know what I'm saying? Or blaspheming Yahuwah, or things like that. But our main point for us is keep your word. Do what you say you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not able to do it, then let that be known that you can't do it. Or if it's going to be some type of ambiguity, just say Yahuwah willing. Because if you say you're going to do something, then you need to do that. Or if not, you made yourself out to be a liar. No, keep your word. I mean, it's not that you married, you held to what you vowed that you said you were going to do out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Solomon said, pay your vows. He said, don't be slack to pay. Solomon said that in Ecclesiastes. It's better to vow. It's better to not vow than to vow and not pay. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about the marriage, because when he talking about vows, they weren't saying marriage vows. People were swearing to Yahuwah that they were going to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to not vow at all, because Yahuwah gonna hold you to that. And on top of that, truth be told, as y'all already know, the law say that makes a vow that her husband or her father can disannul that vow and say, "Oh, you're not doing that. That's a no-go." You know what I'm saying? And then the average woman in this society hear that, "I don't tell me what to do," and you're gonna go to hell. Not because you saying that nobody can't tell you what to do, but because you don't respect the proper order of things. You're disobedient and you're unbelieving. You know what I'm saying? Because you wouldn't submit to Yahuwah. Because a woman told me that years ago when I preached, I never submit to a man. I said, you get ready to go to hell. Why would you say that? Because if you can't submit to a man whom you can see, you're not going to convince me that you're going to submit to a man who you cannot see. You're not going to convince me of that. The same token that if you can't love your wife like the Lord told you to love her like he loved his, then you're not going to tell me that you're going to love him in the same fashion, being a part of his body, being his wife. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to convince me of that. I don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because what you do towards what you can see shows me what you do to what you can't see. You know what I'm saying? As simple as that. People don't like to hear that because it messes with their sensibility of delusion that they've crafted in their own mind. You know what I'm saying? How you treat your brother is how you feel about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's how you feel about him. That's why he said, if you see anybody who's hungry, thirsty, naked, in prison, he said, if you did it to the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. Because you saw him and them, so you treated them accordingly. So that's why he said that. How can you say you love Elohim who you can't see, but you don't love your brother who you do see? You know what I'm saying? Oh, people, I mean, our prison ministry, see, when they talk about that, see, people going to see people in prison, that don't necessarily mean that the people they going to see is in the Lord. That's just somebody who locked up. But what he was talking about is people who were locked up for righteousness' sake. Somebody say like, John was in prison. The boys went and visited John. You know what I'm saying? Because they were sending word back to John, and John was sending word back to them. They went and seen him. People went and seen Paul. People went and prayed for Peter and things of this nature when he was locked up. So it's a little different. It's not, see, people try to equate that. Man, the prison house full of sinners, man. 99.9% of the boys ain't following and serving Yahuwah, or they following some bastardized version of Yahuwah's word, whether they be in Yahweh, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Notice he said, if you did it to any of these, the least of my brethren. That is the key point. He said, brethren. Who is his brethren? Those who were sanctified by him and those who do the will of his Father in heaven. Just because you black don't mean that you my brethren. You my kinsman according to the flesh. If you don't believe in Yahushua, you not my brother. You just my kinsman according to the flesh. I'm not going to treat you any different because you don't, but you just my kinsman according to the flesh. You know what I'm saying? But when you do these things, how you treat each other is how you feel about God. How you feel about Elohim. A woman disrespect her husband, that's how she feels about you. Period. But hallelujah for Yahushua. We'll continue this on next week. I appreciate everybody's time. I bless everybody at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. You know, Yahuwah willing, we got Purim next week. But that's on the Sabbath. So still decide if I'll go that night, Saturday night. It's more than likely. Probably not for an extended period of time. But we'll go Sunday afternoon. So regular Sabbath night time, regular Sabbath daytime, maybe Sunday, probably that Sabbath night, or that Saturday night, probably by 8 o'clock. Sunday afternoon, probably by 2 Sunday. And that's how we're rocking. Matter of fact, that's what it's going to be. So I mentioned it again on Wednesday for those of y'all that's on here. But you know, make sure you have that word in your heart and you can be able to abide with you to have an everlasting feast. That is the objective. That's what happens when the new wine is dripped down from heaven. So, no, I haven't been talking about that now. Just not. So, again, I bless all y'all in the house of y'all name of Yahushua. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate your time. Who are willing to the next time.
I think now.